Hello, today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. I'm Sarah Krafasi from LB3, and this is Staying Connected. Today, I'm joined by Deb Bowling from LB3 to discuss another unfortunate data breach that might impact enterprise customers. On our last podcast together, Deb discussed AT&T's second wireless data breach of 2024 alone, and this time she's back to talk about what could be the second largest data breach of all time, the National Public Data Breach, to which NPD admitted last Friday, August 16th. Deb, welcome back to Staying Connected.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me again, though I wish it was for a fun topic instead of sharing more bad news. This NPD breach may affect us as individuals on a personal level and our clients on an enterprise level. In early April, the hacker referred to as US DoD, offered to sell 2.9 billion rows of data from National Public Data for $3.5 million, claiming the data included the entire population of the US, UK, and Canada.
Wow, so that was in April, and it's now the end of August with NPD making a public announcement about the breach just last Friday. So why the delay?
Great question, Sarah. As you know, there's no national law requiring entities, aside from critical infrastructure providers, to report security incidents. State laws may require notice of security breaches, but the notice goes to the Attorney General and to the affected individuals. Those laws also typically allow the company time to determine what information was breached and the impact it has or is likely to have on individuals. Earlier indicators of a data breach come from companies like Norton, LifeLock, McAfee that you pay to watch for your personal information on the dark web. These companies found information and sent it to their customers. Some customers received the report and teamed up with lawyers who in the first week of August filed numerous class action lawsuits against Jericho Pictures, which does business as National Public Data. With lawsuits piling up and journalists excited for a good story, NPD had to address its data breach. It made a very high-level and less hysterical public announcement of the breach on its website last Friday.
Can you tell us what you mean by a high level and less hysterical?
NPD briefly said that it was working with law enforcement to investigate hacks into its systems that started last December, and it determined that data from about April 2024 through this summer had been stolen. That data included millions, not billions, of names, social security numbers, email addresses, phone numbers, and mailing addresses. NPD then provided information on how to implement credit freezes and watch for fraudulent financial activity, at your own cost, of course. Then, on August 17th, NPD whittled the extent of the exposure further. It told the Maine Attorney General that 1.3 million people were affected by the hack, including 2,760 Maine residents. NPD made this official, more detailed disclosure because Maine requires notice to its AG of data breaches with the number of affected individuals. These notices must be given as expeditially as possible and without unreasonable delay, or within 7 days after law enforcement says disclosure will not adversely impact their investigation. I suspect that NPD was waiting for the law enforcement okay.
Got it. So do you think NPD was underplaying this disclosure?
Of course, it was trying to downplay the extent of the disclosure to protect its reputation. But I do trust Troy Hunt, a well-respected security researcher who runs Have I Been Pawned, a website where you can type in your email address and see if it is available on the dark web. Mr. Hunt's view of the breach gave me more peace of mind. He learned of this breach in April, but was skeptical of the claims, so reviewed the plain text data released on August 6th on the dark web carefully. The broker mentioned said a long list of information had been stolen from the US, UK, and Canada persons, but only used US terms like SSN instead of UK and Canada equivalent terms. Moreover, 360 billion rows of data is far more than the population of the US, UK, and Canada combined. Mr. Hunt determined that the same SSNs appeared in 6 or more rows of the sample data offered for sale. He determined that around 134 email addresses had been stolen, and that seemed to align with the NPD breach, but they were of unclear origin. On the upside, NPD appeared to have been trying to operate as a legitimate data broker because the information for anybody that opted out wasn't included in the information dumped on the web. It's always a good reminder to us to opt out of the use of our personal information. The actual data breached included the sensitive information, including social security numbers, but it was often associated with incorrect data, like the wrong name, the wrong address, the wrong email.
All right, so you and I obviously have our own concerns, but why should enterprise customers care? And more importantly, what can they do about this?
Well, NPD is a data aggregator that gathers information from across the web that's used by, among others, private investigators, but more importantly, human resources departments for background checks. Enterprises frequently run background checks on their own employees, and in certain cases on their vendors and personnel too. So when HR gathers this information, it should address the background check providers in the same way it addresses all third-party suppliers' data protection responsibilities. We recommend performing appropriate due diligence on the provider before engaging in negotiations. Are there lawsuits related to the privacy risks that you wish to avoid? It's not unusual for even respectable employment background providers like Checker to face lawsuits, some by the FTC, for violation of the FCRA. But does your preferred provider have any breach of privacy suits out there? We also recommend including strong information security and confidentiality requirements, with appropriate indemnification obligations and limitation of liability in contracts with these providers.
All right, thanks for the update, Deb. And if you have any questions or you would like to learn more about how to protect your enterprise from data breaches, or if you have other ICT needs, please contact Deb, me, or any of our TC2 or LB3 colleagues by giving us a call or sending us an email. You can also stay current by subscribing to our Staying Connected podcast series and by checking out our websites and by following us on LinkedIn.